Welcome to Strange TV, where the ordinary becomes extraordinary and the shadows come alive. Tonight, we bring you a tale that will send chills down your spine, a story of a shadow that lurks where you least expect it. So turn off the lights, grab a blanket, and prepare to face the darkness. This is a shadow beneath the bed. In a quiet suburban home, nestled at the end of a tree-lined street, a young boy named Ethan slept soundly in his room. His bed was cozy, his toys neatly arranged, and a nightlight cast a soft golden glow across the walls. But as the clock struck midnight, something stirred beneath his bed. Something dark, something alive. At first, it was just a whisper, a faint, almost imperceptible sound, like the rustling of leaves in the wind. But as the minutes ticked by, the whispers grew louder, more insistent, and then Ethan woke up. Ethan sat up in bed, his heart pounding in his chest. The room was dark, save for the faint glow of his nightlight. He listened carefully, his small hands clutching the edge of his blanket. That's when he heard it again. A soft, scraping noise, like nails dragging across wood. It was coming from under his bed. Trembling, Ethan leaned over the edge of his bed and peered into the darkness below. What he saw would haunt him forever. There in the shadows was a figure, a shadowy, shapeless mass, darker than the night itself. It had no face, no features, just two hollow eyes that seemed to stare right through him. Ethan screamed, but no sound came out. The shadow reached for him, its form shifting and twisting like smoke. And then, just as suddenly as it appeared, it was gone. The next morning, Ethan told his parents about the shadow. His mother smiled warmly, brushing his hair back as she said, "It was just a bad dream, sweetheart. There's nothing under your bed." His father chuckled, adding, "You've been watching too many scary movies, kiddo." But Ethan wasn't convinced. He had seen the shadow. He had felt its cold, heavy presence, and deep down, he knew it wasn't a dream. That night, the shadow returned. Ethan lay in bed, his eyes wide open, staring at the ceiling. He didn't want to look, but he couldn't help himself. Slowly, he leaned over the edge of his bed and peered into the darkness below. There it was, the shadow, closer than before. Its hollow eyes glowed faintly, and its form seemed to pulse and writhe as if alive. Ethan tried to scream, but his voice caught in his throat. The shadow reached for him, its smoky fingers brushing against his skin. It was cold, so cold. And then, just as before, it vanished. But this time, Ethan knew it wasn't gone. It was waiting. The next morning, Ethan was gone. His bed was empty, the sheets tangled and cold. His parents searched the house, calling his name, but there was no sign of him. Panic set in as they realized their son was missing. Then, as they stood in his room, they heard it, a faint whisper coming from beneath the bed. It was soft, almost imperceptible, but it was there, and it was calling their names. As the parents knelt by the bed, they realized the truth. The shadow wasn't under the bed, it was the bed. The wooden frame twisted and warped, forming a grotesque face with hollow eyes and a gaping mouth. The whispers grew louder, and the bed began to creak and groan as if alive. They tried to destroy it, but it was no use. The shadow had claimed Ethan, and now it wanted more. As they fled the room, they heard Ethan's voice, faint and distant, calling out from beneath the bed. But it wasn't Ethan anymore. It was the shadow, mimicking his voice, luring them back. And so the shadow waited, patient and hungry, beneath the bed. It had claimed Ethan, and it would claim others too. For the shadow wasn't just a bed, it was a gateway, a prison, and a predator all in one, and it would never stop. Some say if you listen closely, you can still hear the whispers coming from beneath the bed. Thank you for joining us on Strange TV. If you dare to explore more tales from the shadows, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And remember, sometimes the darkest stories are the ones that stay with you long after the screen fades to black. Until next time, sleep tight if you can.